Mi gente, hello, hello. Welcome, bienvenidos a another episode of Hoy en Día TV. I am happy to be here with you all today on this beautiful, beautiful day. I am your host, Yessie Rodriguez. We have some juicy topics to talk about, and we have a special guest, as per usual, which I know you're going to find very interesting. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring my co host, Manny Morales, to the stage. Manny, welcome.
Bendiciones, mi gente, bendiciones, ¿cómo estamos? How y'all doing today? How's everybody going?
Yes, ¿cómo tú estás, Manny?
¿Ah?
¿Cómo tú estás? How are you?
Bien cansado como siempre, pero tú sabes, luchando, luchando.
I see that you changed up your look. You went for the natural curl beach, was it the
Yeah,
beach
yeah.
look?
Had to do something different because our special guest is a lioness, so I had to let my mane out and wear my lion jacket. Yeah, so
Rawr,
yeah,
rawr. Okay, I love it. And you say that. I'm curious to know, and I'm sure once she gets on, she'll help me understand lioness.
right,
Why does she have that name? I'm curious, and I know that the listeners and audience are definitely curious as
right,
well.
definitely, definitely. Seems
Yes,
to
when you have juicy topics. Well,
yes,
on my end, life has been life, but I'm still here, blessed, can't complain. But pushing forward, and glory be to God for everything that
yes,
we have
ma'am.
going on. And but yeah, so with the topics we have, we did you hear about the kidnapping attempt that happened recently in Texas?
Yes. I didn't get the full details porque yo no veo la noticia. I hate watching the news, man. Like it's so negative. I usually get highlights from my mother all the way in Puerto Rico. Like she sends me like video of the news broadcast because she knows I'll watch the news, so she'll send me something. So she gave me a little highlight. That was crazy. But I know you know more details because we had talked about it one day. So explain to me what happened.
Yeah, so in Texas, unfortunately, there was a kidnapping attempt where two brothers were walking home from school. They're older. They didn't really specify the date range, but based on what I'm looking, and I actually came across this video on Instagram. They look between 7 to 10 range, but nevertheless old enough to know the difference, right? And so apparently they were stopped by a vehicle who asked them, to approach them, and they knew better because they were taught this, that it was a kidnapping attempt. And so luckily they were close enough to their home where they can just run straight to the door, let themselves in. But they did the right thing. They reported it right away to their parents, and this ended up being on ABC News. So this became widespread and newsworthy simply because a lot of other kids are going to school. There's going to be a lot of um, individuals who have no business trying to communicate with kids, but still
Right.
do. I'm trying to be properly grammatically correct. But nevertheless, this message is a reminder: if you do have kids, or if you know a kid that walks home from school, please talk to their parent. Or even if you're a parent that has a child that walks home from school, takes the bus, etc., please be very, very cautious because this is
Right.
unfortunately still happening today in the year 2024. We're
Right.
still dealing with kidnapping attempts. We're still dealing with just a lot of individuals who are considered registered sex offenders, right? And they aim or target children.
Right. And that's sad. Like I don't understand what type of attraction you have to a child. Like they're not even developed. I feel like those type of people are weak-minded, and they need somebody to be able to um, be be to dominate. And I feel like they can't deal with an adult, so they rather mold the child to groom them to be their submissive, and
Right.
that's really sad. That's really sad because children these days, um, a lot of children don't have both parents, so they grow up already, um, in a bad situation. And then to put them in that type of light, it just messes with their head, and that's why our epidemic of mental disabilities and suicide rates and just mental health in general is bad because of stuff like this. And just the violence that we see in TV and everything like that. It's bad.
Yeah, it's horrible, and I agree. I don't understand either, and I thank God that I don't. But I really pray that God touches those individual souls to snap out of whatever demonic
Right.
energy or negative energy they're in, because
Right.
to target innocent young children that are still growing, still learning, I just I can't grasp or understand why. Like
Right.
why? But
Right.
again, there's all these adults walking around that need love and attention. Why don't you go seek them out? If you need companionship, go go to a dating website or something.
Right.
I mean, there's plenty
Right.
of other things that you could be doing. Why target young innocent
Exactly.
children, young
And to
kids?
understand that, you have to understand the mind of a pedophile, and I would never want to be in the mind of a pedophile. Like I just that's not something that I would like to do. But yes, I pray for those people. I don't want to say I don't judge them because I am, but or at the same time, like I pray for those people because they need to um, change their mentality. Children are children; they're innocent. Why take their innocence away? You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely, you're right. And with that, we're going to shift gears a little bit. So there's been a lot of press on the presidential candidacy. Now, I'm not going to talk or dive too much into it, but just give you a high level overview because I don't want anybody listening that wasn't that
Right.
bright. But you may, because this is just more of a reminder to do your research. So I get that with the funding, the Democrats, the Republicans, etc., they have all this funding. Think of it of like Jay-Z and Beyonce. Just an
Mm-hmm.
example, or whoever mainstream that you consider, they're mainstream. They get all this funding, all this support, etc., and they're always in your face with either marketing, promotion, etc. But then there are the independent individuals behind the scene, again, correlating it to music, where they have some dope music, but we really don't hear about it because they don't have that funding. They don't have that press. People know that they exist, but because they're not supported by the higher ups, so to
Right.
speak. They're
Mm-hmm.
not always in your face. And so I hear a lot of people like feeling some type of way or having some sort of passion towards the two that are always on the news, always on the media, always in our faces, which is Kamala Harris and Donald Trump.
Right.
But what I will encourage you, if you are passionate about neither, so you say, I don't feel like Donald can do anything for me, or I don't feel Kamala can do anything for me, there are other options that you can
Right.
consider. And doing your homework is the key because
Mhm.
your vote. So
Exactly.
aside from Donald Trump, aside from Kamala Harris, we have Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is also running. He is under the Independent Party. Again, I'm not going to speak too much about what the beliefs are because my task or my challenge for you is to do your research so
Right.
that when voting time comes, you know and you're confident in your heart that the person you vote for is the one that you are fully supporting, right? And so we also have Jill Stein, who represents the Green Party. We also have Cornel West, who is another representing the Independent Party.
Okay.
We have Chase Oliver, who's libertarian.
Hmm.
We have, well, and it looks like those are the main ones. Everybody else dropped out. I'm not going to even mention them, but nevertheless, there are still others that are still in the running for you as a voter to consider. Now, what are your thoughts about that, Rennie? Any thoughts?
Um. Yes. So a lot of people, um, they see, like you said, the main two running, and they're like, well, they're going to be one, president anyway, so I'm going to vote for one of them. And you don't believe or like what they have to offer. And they're like, so you just ignore the other ones. People like they're supposed to be our representatives, and we're supposed to be able to trust them and to run the government in a fair manner. So to just say, oh well, I'm just going to vote for this person because they're in the lead. No, if that's not who you feel, you need to vote for who. Be true to yourself, straight up. Like. I don't know. It's just um, and I'm not against having a woman president. Um, and Trump has some good values, and he has a lot of bad ones as well. But whenever I vote, I usually do my research, just like you said, and I vote for who who makes me feel confident enough to know that he's going to be a good president. So I don't just go for the majority, and that's what a lot of people should do,
Right.
but they don't. So,
Right. And the reason why I felt it was important to bring that up is because recently, or
wow,
honestly, it's been
I
about a
didn't know
month now.
Cornel was
Hmm?
running for president. That's awesome.
Isn't that
Cornel,
awesome? Yeah.
he
Uh-huh.
is he is. I didn't know he was a politician. He's,
See, so look at that. You had an epiphany moment. You didn't know, and how many other people don't know? Again, because they're not like the Jay Z's and Beyonces of the world. And
right,
again, I'm using that as a correlation more to music because a lot of people listen to music, right? And I'm
right.
correlating more of the mainstream, what's in your face versus independent, what's behind the scenes that you need to do your homework, do your research on. People say, "Oh, that's dope." Like
Hmm.
Manny just said, Kurt West, that's dope. You
Right.
didn't
Yeah, he's an
know.
American philosopher. Like he has a lot. Uh, I believe he won the Nobel Peace Prize, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, well, see, there you go. So hopefully, this message will encourage you as the listeners, as the audience, to do your homework, do your research. Do not settle. Again, if you're not
Right.
passionate about either Donald
Exactly.
Trump or Kamala Harris, it's
Hmm.
okay. There's other individuals that you can do your
Right.
homework on, research on, to look them up and feel confident when it is time to vote that your vote does matter, regardless of who it is you vote for. Manny and I are not here to judge you who you vote for, but what we
Right.
want to do is remind you that there are options. Don't
Yeah.
feel pressured because you see these individuals always in the media, always in your face, always this, always that. Don't feel that pressure. It's a okay. It's gonna be
Right.
a okay.
I'm definitely surprised Cornel West isn't more visible in the media. Like he's a really dope person. Like he really is.
Mhm. Yeah,
Wow.
he is.
That's
I
amazing. I didn't know
knew
that.
it. Ha ha! Thought you saw me too now, Manny. Now, I'm going to shift gears again before we bring
Okay.
on our guest and talk about another important topic. So,
Yes.
recently, unfortunately, myself and five other individuals, while we were on a work trip, we were targeted while we were at a restaurant, enjoying ourselves, eating. Had a good productive day at work with a production. And I'm being vague on purpose just to because I want to get the message out without giving too many details because other things are happening behind the scenes. But
Right.
um, unfortunately, when we went outside and looked at the vehicle that we were using to transport us to different locations, um, we identified or realized that somebody did break into the vehicle and our items were stolen.
Wow.
And so, with that in mind, we have an inclination of who it is, but this is a reminder for you all when you're at a restaurant or at a public place. Um, if you get a gut feeling that something is right, and again, because I had a gut feeling and other people have had a gut feeling like someone's right, but when you're in the moment, you just ignore it. You're just in the moment. But the reminder: if you get that gut feeling, trust your gut feeling. And and so with that, I am going to upload some travel tags that I came across on different sites that I feel are important to you, to anybody that's
Mm.
traveling. So that way, in the event, heaven forbid, that happens to you or to anybody, you'll be able to quickly identify where your items are, and you can be
Mhm.
able to track your items. So
Right. Right.
again, friendly reminder: be mindful of one, your surroundings, where you're parking. Nowadays, I've noticed that restaurants have cameras, but half the
Mhm.
time they're not working. Is that
Right.
that's at least what they're saying. Um, but then that makes you wonder: why are they not working? Why are they just there for show?
Right.
Right? So, um, Just wanted to kind of throw that out there. So go on my website, jesserodriguez.com. I will be loading those up, those travel tags up for whoever is interested in grabbing them, purchasing them, because these are important. You have valuable assets and valuable items that may have sentimental value, are worth a lot of money. And for somebody to kind of step into the territory where they just feel that they can just take it, that's not a good feeling.
Right. Yeah. And they've probably done it many a times at that restaurant, so that's why they felt comfortable. And as soon as they saw your van, depending on, the 12 passenger van, they know that y'all were traveling, so they were like, oh yeah, we got a nice lick. The old me would have been like, let's go pull up because we gonna try to find your stuff. But
Yeah.
I'm not like that. So off camera, we'll definitely go pull up because we need to get that stuff back. But no, the right thing to do is to call the authorities because there's no sense in being violent because it doesn't, you're just doing the same thing they did in a different way, you know? Um, as long as nobody was hurt, um, that is a good thing, you know? Material things can be gotten again, purchased. They're not worth a life. You know what I'm saying? So, if this ever happens to you, call the authorities. Most of the time, the authorities don't care, but sometimes you have to, be your own um, investigator. You know, your own Sherlock Holmes. That's what I was. That had a brain fart. But yeah, you have to be your own Sherlock Holmes and try to find your stuff.
Right.
And like you said, cameras and kind of got to do the cops' work these days because some of them don't want to do anything. They're lazy. But I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm definitely sorry that happened to you.
Thank you. Me too. I'm sorry that we were affected and other individuals were affected. But what
Right.
I did learn throughout this process as well is there's some other options that you can consider to help cover your things. So I came
Hmm.
across the Travelers Insurance website. No, they're not a sponsor yet. I'm throwing it out there because I'm promoting you right now. Hopefully, Travelers Insurance will decide to be a sponsor for us.
Right.
But nevertheless, covering your items, because what I've realized is a lot of car insurances or even homeowner or
Hmm.
renters insurance, they don't cover things like this. And so there's an insurance where you can get while you're traveling,
Hmm.
which in the event if you deal with similar situations, whether it be a theft, loss, etc., this policy that you have will cover most or either all or some, depending on the policy that you get, right?
Right.
For your items. So food for thought for those who travel a lot. If you don't already have a traveler's policy, I would
Right.
recommend you looking into that because that could be a good way to help cover yourself in the event that you may be a victim of theft.
Right. Yeah, that'll definitely take a lot of stress off a lot of people because a lot of people worry about the belongings that they, acquire. And it's like they have the right to because they've worked so hard for the things that they
Mhm.
acquired. They don't want nobody to, especially somebody that feels like they could just take it. And I
Right.
understand you might need the money or you just don't and you want to steal somebody's stuff. But yeah, renters insurance. I mean, travelers insurance. Definitely look into that if you travel a lot.
Absolutely. And I'm one of those where I believe in the whole karma. There's good karma and there's bad karma,
Hmm.
right? When you do good, good comes back to you. But when you do bad, bad's going to come back to you too.
Right.
So just be mindful of your actions. And I'm just saying not just you in general, Manny, but talking to the viewers and listeners, be mindful of your actions. When you do good, the law of karma says good's gonna come back to you. When
Right.
you do bad, the law of karma says bad's gonna come back to you. If you don't believe me, research, law
Right.
of karma.
Right. Definitely.
Yes. Well, it is time to bring on our special guest. Manny, I'm going to give you first to introduce the special guest because you know more of who she is than I do. And so whenever you're ready, we will bring her on.
Okay. So this young lady is a good friend of mine. This is why I wore my hair out because she's a lioness and have my mane and I wore my lion's jacket today. She is the host of In the Den with Nala here in Jacksonville. And she interviews a lot of artists, um, music artists, regular artists like, paint artists, just people in general. And she's a big advocate for mental health. So, without further ado, here is In the Den with Nala.
Hey, yo.
Hello. Hello.
Welcome, welcome to Hoy en Día TV.
Welcome, and bienvenidos.
How
Oh,
y'all
and
doing?
I forgot to tell you, she's Latina también. She's Dominican,
Oh,
but she'll understand us, but a lot of the Spanish she can't speak, but she
gotcha.
understands everything. So she is definitely Latina. So,
I
but
love
anyway, go
it.
ahead.
Bienvenido.
Now, and,
Welcome
yeah.
to Hoy en Día TV.
How you doing?
All right. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. So how are you, by the way? First of all, how was your day?
Um, I've been a little overwhelmed. I have a big event tomorrow, so I've been stressed out. But we got it all situated, so let's
Oh,
go.
okay, cool. Well, I hope you have a good event. I know you will because you're in the Den with Nala. So,
Yep.
but so tell the audience about yourself. Like, who is Nala?
Who's Nala?
Yes,
That's a big question.
right. We have time.
Well, I started my podcast up in 2018. So when I started out as a club host. So I started out in the clubs, with the artists, the DJs. But I was basically in the alcoholism real, real bad. So as I grew, I started to see what it was like. I started to see what the people around me was like. And I was like, it has to be more than life than
Hmm.
this. So what was a car accident, almost lost my whole life or whatever. And I
Oh
started
wow.
reevaluating my friends and everybody that was around me. So
Hmm.
that was a big thing for me. So I ended up um, basically almost homeless. No family here. I was here in
Wow.
Jacksonville. I ended up moving back to Georgia. So I moved back to Georgia, got my life together, went to school for business, got my little degree, my little bachelor's degree, my little big bachelor's degree in business. And I figured out how to work my podcast within the four walls of my home. So when I started doing that, I was like, I'm going to take my face off social media because I had felt like I destroyed myself in the social world. So I took myself away from that. I fasted away from it for about 2.5 years. And then I just did audio podcasting. I just put my voice out there and it was growing, but I knew my people knew who I was. But I wanted people to know what I was really going trying to get in the club again, trying to use my trying to do that because mental health is real. And to my alcoholism and all of that was because I was really going through it and I didn't talk. So that's to use that with my podcast to talk to people because so I started using that with artists. A lot of artists I was dealing with, being that I started out, and there was a lot of artists that I were around basically had issues. You were listening, and hear stuff. We all need help at some point. So I took that. I started working with the artists, producers, DJs. Started interviewing them and help. Our 904 right here in Jacksonville, Florida, over of her station and started using her station as versus
Oh, I think we're having
that. Now you
connection.
can take it up.
Can
Can you
you
hear
hear?
me?
Can you hear
Yeah,
okay?
you're buffering bad.
Yeah, it's I
Connection.
can't really understand a lot of what was said.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
I'm back.
All right. So, um, like what where does Nala come from? So
Nala.
the
So it started from the lioness. The lioness
okay.
was the wild girl in the clubs. Nala is
Mhm.
the more calmer.
Ah, okay.
So,
Okay.
and everybody was always using there was a lioness. And I'm like, I
Mhm.
didn't want to be like, I want to be authentic. I want to be something different. So I took Nala because Nala has meaning to me, being that I am a Leo. I was born in August. All of that just runs in together with it. But lioness, everybody wants to be a lioness. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm more than a lioness. So I took that wild side, I took my soft side, and I put them together. And now you have Nala because got the Lion King.
Awesome. That is definitely awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm curious to know more about the journey because you mentioned that you were involved in a car accident and you're almost homeless and you had to relocate. So walk us through what you were feeling at that point. And the reason why I'm asking that is because a lot of people have different points in their lives where they feel they're at their lowest, right? And
Mhm.
so it sounds like from what you're sharing, that may have been the lowest point for you. How did you feel and what did you do to really pick yourself up to say, you know what, I'm better than this. I got to keep pushing.
It took me about a year and a half to realize that, to get through that. But I felt alone. I felt betrayed. I felt all of the emotions of being hurt. I was angry, sad, and I just felt like, you know, people weren't people. Like I looked at humanity at a different eye at this
Right.
point. But it took a lot of me dealing with myself, finding out who I really was to be able to put myself back out there, like I said, in that situation. It took a lot of healing. I'm still healing in the process, and it's still things that come in my life that triggers things that I have to be careful with that because I will shut down in like 3.5 seconds if I feel like if I feel like it's coming. But I'm learning more to let people know why, if you treat me that way, this is gonna be my reaction. Like,
Mhm.
because I don't want them to feel like, well, dang, she just shut down. Because normally that's what I would do. I would shut down, cut you off, and just move out the way. But now I let you know why I'm doing it. Like, I don't like that, or I don't feel like you should have done that. This is why I'm this way. So, but what woke me up and helped me get more out of that was me going to school, like I said, building real relationships with people in the business world and finding out who I really was as a woman, not just Nala, like as a woman, period. And mentally, the things that we go through, it helped me to be intact with my emotions.
Okay. That's cool. That is definitely awesome. And you definitely talked about a lot of the things that you went through mentally, and that's why when we first talked. You talked about mental health, and you're a big advocate because of the stuff that you went through. She was actually first person that interviewed me for on Indie Den with Nala for my book. So she was here, the first person here in Jacksonville, actually ever, I think. But yeah, she was the first person. That's how we met, and we've definitely been good friends ever since. Like I've sent her some people to her podcast, and we've been growing, networking with people, and I've seen her grow. Like since I've met her, since I've known her, she was like really shy, and it's just like she got so much going on now, and it's like, when did you start that? Like, what are you doing?
She busted out her shell.
So
She's like,
yeah, she's like she's not letting anything stop her in the mental health situation that she was going through. She's not letting that stop her. Like she is definitely full force moving forward in a positive light, and I definitely congratulate her for real. Yes.
that's a beautiful thing. That is such a beautiful thing because like Manny mentioned before, mental health, we all deal with some form of mental health, whether
Right.
it be anxiety, depression, thinking too much, feeling overwhelmed, etc. That's
Oh,
all under the classification of mental health, right? And so each person has their own coping mechanisms for that. And so you mentioned something, Nala, that caught my attention regarding you had to find yourself and get out of that, right? What are some of the strategies that you would recommend or suggest to individuals who are trying to find themselves, but they just have no clue where to start? Because a lot of
hmm
people may be feeling that way. What were some of the strategies that you used that worked for you that somebody else may consider as food for thought?
The first thing I had to do is get myself out of the negative environments. Some of the environments that we think are positive, they're
hmm
not really positive when it comes to your mental state. You have to sit down, you have to think about, why am I doing this? Why am I in this environment? Why do I feel like I gotta be here? I had to cut off a lot of good people that I felt like were good for me, but were really not. And
Wow.
it's not saying that they were bad people, they just were not good for me,
hmm
and what I was trying to do in life. That's something big that I had to do, even though it hurt the most, or but that's why I think I fasted away or took myself away from social media. Because once I did that, even though it was hard, because social media is our life, and the inboxing and DMs and all of that, it was hard, but I did it. And once I did that, the second thing I did was learn how to love myself. um, us as women, sometimes we look for certain attention in our friends, relationships, all of that. Some of my relationships was harmful. Some of my friendships was harmful. I took a lot of negative tip stuff that I didn't have to take, and it turned me into the lioness. I was always ready to fight. I was always, ready to pull up. I was always ready to do that stuff, but once I figured out, like, I didn't have to do all of that. Like, why was I doing that?
Right.
Like, what
So
was provoking me to do that? And loving myself was, one of the biggest things that I learned how to do. I had to learn how to do that.
right. Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they're scared to do that because they don't know what they'll uncover as they
Hmm.
try to peel the onion back, so to speak.
Yes.
And sharing your experience with people and how you coped and were able to move forward is a great thing because that'll give people tools to be able to try their own versions of trying to move forward. But at the same time, just like all of us know, we have to hit that point to where we can't take anymore till we actually decide that, okay, I need to change for me, not for
Yeah.
everybody around me. And like you said, you had to get rid of a lot of people, and that was your comfort. So it was hard. That's why it was so difficult, because those people were your comfort, your blanket. You felt like you could relate to them because y'all were in the same situation, but they were bad for you. You were made for something more than what you were putting yourself in, you know. So, but if you really trying to pull up, me and Yessie are going to Georgia to pull up on some people. If you trying to come with us, like,
Let me
we
sit
be
down.
3 people. I'll drive there, and somebody got to drive back though.
That's funny, man. And so, and you know what? And I definitely, and I echo the words that Manny said regarding congratulating you, because what I find often in people that I encounter and interact is that there's a negative situation, and I don't know if maybe this is just the flesh of us being humans. A lot of
Mhm.
people tend to stick with the negativity, or they like to swim
Right.
in the pool of negativity. And it's like, okay, at what point are you gonna get out of this pool? Because there's more to life than just what's happening in the negative, right?
I
And
don't think
so,
I realize that it's kind of like abuse. Like, you're abusing yourself, even though you don't think that
Mhm.
you are. When you stay in that environment, you are basically abusing yourself.
Right. Yeah.
right, right. So, at what point was your aha epiphany moment? And I'm asking that specifically because each and every one, I have a strong feeling that each individual who may be dealing with a negative situation that they feel that they can't get out of, there is that aha, light bulb, epiphany moment where they're like, you know what? Let me change. But they may not ever get to that because they might be too comfortable or too scared. What was your aha or epiphany moment to say, you know what? It's time for me to change. I can't take this anymore. I need to push forward. Do you remember it?
Yes. First of all, the biggest thing is being transparent. A lot of us are scared to be transparent with ourselves. We're scared about what people are going to say about us. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I was involved in alcohol. I would
Mm-hmm.
be wasted, white girl wasted, if I could say, like just go to on. And even though I had a platform back then, people would use that against me as an obstacle to keep me from growing. So
Mm-hmm.
when that was my wake up call, like I'm out here working, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but that negative comment was keeping me from a lot of things. I'd be like, oh, that's the girl that always get drunk, or that's the girl that always do this. But I'm smart
Right.
and I got
Right.
class. The reason why you was here sometimes was because I got you in the door, or but that didn't matter. People would take that one negative thing that I would do and use it
And
again
go with it.
the
Mm-hmm.
whole time, like nothing else mattered. All they knew was, oh, she was drinking, she was drinking, she was drunk, she was on the mic, she was drunk, she was drunk, you know. And I'm like, that's all y'all remember the whole night?
Right, right. No.
I ain't do nothing else.
Right.
That was my moment. Like, okay, so now what we gonna do is talk about that weak moment,
Mm-hmm.
because yes, I do. I did do that, but
Mhm.
at the same time, I was using what I was trying to do to grow my platform. And even though, you know, I was doing that, nobody saw that because they was too focused on my negative. So I
Right.
had to remove that.
Right. A lot of times people have their own demons and their own skeletons that they
Mhm.
have to pick on other people so that way nobody will see, what they've done behind closed doors or what their flaws, you know what I'm saying? And
And that's
um they are ashamed of their flaws as well. So they, oh, she's a drunk, you know what I'm saying? So that way they could just, oh, nobody's paying attention to me. Let's point the finger at this person over here. But um, you did an amazing thing. Like there's a lot of people that really can't do it, and that's why they continue to be in that negative light. You
and
being
that's the reason why I said it woke me up with my environment and the people around me. Like instead of
right,
people standing up for me, I may have maybe one or two people I can't remember that would get in my inbox and be like, "Hey, you need to switch up your friends. Hey, you need to wake up."
right,
But my
mm-hmm,
heart was so caught up in that moment of my friends.
mm-hmm,
Like I would, like I
right,
said, ride them, pull up, like don't talk about my friends,
mm-hmm,
type thing. But at the same time, one or two people is all I can remember. But they didn't stand up for me. And that was another aha moment. Like, if you're my friend, why are you allowing this to go on? Why are you not saying anything? Why are you not standing up for me? Like,
right,
okay, I'm good.
right. And I feel like
Yes.
being
Food
a,
for thought.
I feel like
Aha
being a
moment.
mom kind of helped in that fashion as well because having Jaden kind of change your well, I don't know because I'm not in your head, but I'm pretty sure it changed your mentality on how how you carry yourself because it's not only people around you that's looking at you. Now you have a child that is looking at you and he's feeding off of everything that he sees. So
Yeah,
I believe um that contributed to the change in personality.
that's true.
Thank
But I also feel like he was here to show me what real love was.
Right.
My
Mm.
oldest kid is 21.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden is 2.
Right.
So I feel like that was a slowdown moment for me, being that I've
Mhm.
been in abusive relationships, all of that. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
he was a soft moment for me to show me like what true love is. Like with him, I'm really, really different from my other kids. And it's crazy, but I'm learning something by having him, if that makes sense. Like when I
Mm-hmm.
found out I was pregnant with him, I was 6 months. So the doctor's freaking out, like, do you need to go to counseling? Are you okay? I'm like, what you mean? They're like, well, you're a little older now, you're about to have another. I'm like, this is amazing to me right now. Like, I felt like I was ready for him. And when he came, it was just a different thing. Yes, emotionally, I'm
Mm,
very much so overprotective still. I'm still at that
right,
side, but I'm real, like he's teaching me what love really is. Compassionate love, if that makes sense.
right.
Yeah.
And I feel like yes, it can relate. So you go ahead and make some comments because she has. How old is RJ?
He's almost 2 already.
Oh,
See, yeah. So she's
Mhm.
always talking about he's getting on my nerves. He's doing crazy stuff. What was he doing right before you got on?
Well, it's a good nerves. It's like, he's
Right,
just curious. So it's
right,
it's it's a, it's a good thing because he's a curious kid, and I
right.
love it.
right,
He gets into everything, but as a parent, you want to protect him as well because like if you get into that, then that can happen. If you get into that, then
Mm-hmm.
that can happen. But then it's a fine balance of trying to find yourself without losing them as well. Because, and I say that because it's like you want them to grow and be curious, but then you also want to protect them, and it's kind of like, what do I do? you
Right,
know,
right. You can't bubble wrap the whole world, you know?
I know,
right.
I know.
And that's
And
like
that's
my biggest fear now with him, like not to put him in the situations that I was already going through. Like I'm not trying to be out here homeless again. I'm not trying to be out here, do like you said, doing stuff like that. Like I'm really trying to grow myself into a situation. Like that's my biggest fear. I don't want to be put in that situation again.
Right.
right, right. And
But at
and
the
don't you just love, like, because we're at a certain age, they call women who have children geriatrics. Like, really? Why? Why?
I've never heard that, but okay.
It's interesting. It's really interesting. Like, if you're past like 35 and up, and you have a
Yes.
child, the classification is your geriatric pregnancy, and I'm like, what?
And that's what I'm
I
saying. They
thought
were
they were
asking
making it
all
up.
the questions. She's like, "Do you need to talk to somebody? Talk to somebody about what? Like, this is a normal thing for pregnancy,
Right.
right?"
Exactly. There's 50-year-old women that still have baby. Well, I think I've heard stories about 50-year-old women still having babies. I don't want to lie to the audience,
I
but
mean, Ashanti just had a baby and she's over 40.
who?
Ashanti, you
Oh,
know
True.
who Nelly is?
mm-hmm. Right.
Ashanti,
Yeah, she's
yes,
42, isn't she? She's 42.
yes.
Mhm. Yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible. Obviously, the older a woman is, depending on your genetics and DNA, the less likely you may be able to have a child. But alternatively, if you want to be one of those, and I'm just talking to the listeners and viewers who may want to consider having a child, wait a little longer. You can consider what's called in vitro fertilization, where you can get the female gets their eggs and they can get it frozen, and then whenever they're ready, then it is inserted into the body for it to naturally form. And obviously, with the support of your partner, or donor.
Right.
But in vitro fertilization is the alternative for women who are older who want to carry a child, but their bodies are just not quite there anymore. So,
Right.
yeah,
Right. But I
yeah.
commend y'all. I commend
Man is
y'all.
like,
I commend y'all women that are taking charge and not letting life or children stop y'all from um, fulfilling your goals and your dreams. Like you're making it work. Like you travel with the Alzheimer's Association doing this play. Um, I know Nala has a full daytime job and she still does her podcast and her magazine as well. We'll talk about that in a second. Um,
Hmm.
and you still have time to devote personal quality time with Jaden because we've talked about it. You're like, I'm unplugged right now because it's me and Jaden time. You know what I'm saying? And I commend y'all for being able to juggle so much in one day and not complain about it. I wish there was more guys that would take a more of a role in their children's lives. But the way society is, it's like they they paint the picture that the women are supposed to stay home barefoot and watching the kids and cooking and stuff like that. But you two prove that theory wrong. You both have full-time jobs. You have a career. You have, side things that you're doing as entrepreneurs, and you're doing it alone with no male help. And that's just I congratulate you straight up. That's awesome.
Yeah, Nala, congratulations. That's not easy for sure. And
It's
for me, I thank God that I do have the support system that I do because,
Right, with Ra, but at the same time,
right,
you're still,
and my cousin
right.
and support. So there's
Right.
definitely support there to help because it's that old saying, it takes a village to raise a child.
Right, right.
done.
Exactly.
And it
Exactly.
takes it for us to be able to do what we need to do successfully and 100% productively. It takes a
Exactly.
good support system because if not, we're gonna fall off. So that's another thing. That's why it's important who's on your support team because
Mm-hmm.
if it gets rocky, you're gonna get rocky, and you don't want that. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You want
Yeah.
that. You want to be able to still shine and do what you got to do
Right.
with the support behind you. So yes,
Exactly. Yeah. You don't want to have friends that are saying, "Oh, find a babysitter so we can go to the club." You need friends to be like, "Stay home and let's get on this computer, or let's, brainstorm the next big idea." You know what I'm saying? That's the type of friends that you need as our viewers. If you're out there and you're like, I want to do something, but I'm a single mom and I don't know how to do it. Well, you have one woman here, and then yes, she has support, but at the same time she's still doing it. She still has a lot of responsibility on her
Mhm.
as a mom, and
Right.
she's still doing it. So you know you can do it. You just have to want it bad enough. And these two women right here want it bad enough. you know so the magazine, it's a new venture that you're doing. How long ago did you create the magazine?
we started the magazine 3 years now. It's
Okay.
called.
Yeah,
Mm.
3 years. What's the
Um,
name? Sorry.
when we went to Texas, it was just something that we was trying. I actually was going as in the den with Nala with Power 904. We went there and we just ended up hanging the banner up on the side of an event that they were having with Making It Magazine. And once we started doing that, Texas kind of took off with on our radar. So we started putting different things on our radar. And we was like, we're in Jacksonville, so we can take this anywhere. So we did that or whatever, but it was kind of getting a little rocky. But we took it up a notch. And once we took it up a notch, we started focusing on more than just the artists. We started focusing on authors. We started focusing on other podcasts, DJs, producers,
Mm,
anybody that had something big as a business and we felt like they weren't getting noticed as they should. A lot of people be like, "But they don't see me. They don't see me." So once
mm,
we check your credentials and see that everything is up to where it's supposed to be, we put you on the radar.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was the name of the magazine? You were breaking up when you said it.
It's called On Our Radar. It comes out the 15th of each month.
Okay. You
So if
had a
people
question.
want to submit to your magazine, is there a process that they have to do, a link they have to go to submit pictures or photos, articles,
Yes.
etc.?
So what you would do is contact us through the website www.power904.com. You would go on there. It's everything that we do is on there, all the way down to respecting the DJs. Everything that Nala does is also on there. You can also find me on different Spotify's, but you contact us through that. You tell us what you want to do. If you want to be a part of the team, if you're trying to submit music, if you're trying to do any of all of that stuff, there is links for each of that for you to submit. Of course, there is a
Hmm.
price. We don't work for free. It is our time. So once you do that, you go through the steps. You do have to have a bio. EPKs are important for artists. All of that has to be set up. You have to have an ASCAP, BMI, all of that as well. Um, you have to have at least 3 good professional pictures for us, videos of your work, and showing us that you are doing what you're supposed to do. And we do also, because I work behind in social media management, I do check your pages. So if your pages are not set up like they're supposed to be, if you don't look like an artist, if you don't look like an author, if you don't look like a model, we don't call you and say, "Hey, we want to get your interview." We don't call you.
Okay.
Okay. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you got to put in the work with anything, right? You got to invest
To
in
be on
yourself.
because
Mhm.
once you be on the radar, then people are gonna start looking for you. Once we start
Right.
promoting and putting you out there, people are gonna go click on your links. People are gonna want to connect with you. So you don't
Right.
want to connect with anybody that's not doing what they're not supposed to be doing.
Right.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So there you go. Y'all listening, take it serious. If you want to be model, actor, musician, etc., you gotta take it serious. Remember, like we've talked in past episodes, is about investing in yourself, whether it be with photography, having proper headshots, body shots, bio, like Nala mentioned, music, making sure your music sounds good, up to par quality, right? Whether it be an actor with your reels. If people want to work with you, they want to book you, but you don't have a reel, then how do we know what quality of work you produce? Now,
Right.
it's okay if you're starting as an actor, right? You can build your reel, and there's different resources that you can tap into. And for those who are interested in tapping into building your reel, hit me up because I do that. I help people out. I have help actors because I've been in this industry since I was 11. So I'm
Hmm.
pretty well versed in the ins and outs of that. But nevertheless, self investment is key. Just like you would invest to go to university and get a big old fancy degree,
Right.
it's the same way you're going to invest in yourself to keep
Yep.
us employed.
Exactly. Exactly. So what's
So we're,
next for
yep,
independent?
you read my mind, man.
What's what?
What's next for Nala? Like
What's
what's
now
coming up
is
in the future,
my focus
personal or
is
business? Right.
my focus is really going to through a different direction. Like I said, you mature as you grow. And I've been here in Jacksonville for at least 3 years. It's a lot of things that has been standing still because I, as a person, you depend on other people to do what you're supposed to be doing. I underestimated myself, where I took myself out of the equation, saying I didn't want to do it everything by myself.
Hmm.
But sometimes you got to take that that jump and just do it, and build it until you get to that place in your life where people are going to help you. So what I've started is a VIP press night with knowledge once a month, where I pick certain people that have been on our radar. I've watched your work. I see your commitment. I see that you know how to build real relationships. I see that you know how to be a leader, not a manager, but a leader. There's two different things. So I took those people and I built a VIP place where you can get those people into active with each other so we can grow to the next level. I have
Okay.
a lot of it stuff coming up. I can't really say, but you will see
Okay.
me doing a lot of different things in the community. Um, and yeah,
That's
you're gonna
That's
see it.
amazing.
awesome.
Yes, that sounds super, super amazing. I'm excited to hear more updates on that.
Yeah.
And how can people find you, follow you, social media handles?
Right.
Social media handles. I am not a TikTok person. TikTok is for fun, but you can still find me on there as in the den with Nala. You can find most of my good work on Instagram. That's where I meet all my good business people connections. Is in the den with Nala, and my Facebook, Lameka Huntley, aka Nala. So you will find that under my government name on Facebook.
Right.
Awesome.
um,
So, did you have any other questions for her before we get into the last minute words?
that, that was it. That was it. This was an exciting and awesome interview. I appreciate you. Last minute, because to tell our viewers, our other guest fell through, so I called it Nala up, and she was like, "Yeah, come on, let's do it." And that's the type of people that you have around you, like people that are gonna say, "You know what, let's do it." You know what I'm saying? Like they're committed to seeing you be successful because they know if you're successful, that energy is gonna rub off on them, and they're gonna be successful as well. That's the type of
Absolutely.
people that you need to surround yourself with. You know.
Absolutely. The go-getters. Yes, that is a true
Exactly.
story. Yes, and I echo your words. Amazing interview. Thank you again for being on, Nala. This is one of many because we're definitely going to invite you on for
Yes.
part
Yes. We'll
two.
definitely have a part two. Yes. Part
A
two.
part two.
Next year.
And yeah, next year, right? 2025.
Yeah, because we're booked till February. We're literally booked till February. Like you seen it, you were
Woo.
in January. We had you in
Yeah.
booked for January. So I was like, yeah, we need to get her in because like
And that's what I love about one of the many things I love about Oyandia is our goal is to positively motivate, inspire, enlighten, educate, and entertain, of course, the
right,
listeners and viewers. With each episode, there's always something new to learn, a opportunity to grow, and to just the change for the better, for the positive, right? Because we are surrounded in a world where there's a lot of negativity. Unfortunately, there's so many things going on. The beginning of the show, Manny and I were discussing some of the cons that we are dealing with currently and have seen and experienced. And so it's time to flip the switch to see the negative into the positive. And so
right,
that's my challenge for each and every one of you. If there's a negative situation or just something negative that you feel is happening in your life, how can you see it as a positive? What is it teaching you or trying to teach you? And how can you shift that mindset to see the better in that negative situation? Because there's always a plus to what you think might be a con, right? And
mm,
so let's get into the last minute words.
yes.
So who
Any
wants to start?
inspirational?
Nala, Manny?
Yeah, we'll get Nala to any inspirational words that you might want to give to our audience. It, just something to help inspire them to either start or keep going in their journey.
Love yourself and stay focused.
Awesome, awesome. That is awesome.
Yes.
So So, as I usually say, don't let the fear of failure overcome the righteousness of success. Like Nala said, you have to love yourself to be able to be successful. Because if you don't love yourself, how are other people going to love you? Um, you can't be scared to make that first step. Like I was in that same situation. Like I was like, I sat on my book for 10 years before I actually put it out. I wrote it 10 years before I actually published it because I was scared of public ridicule. I was scared that people weren't going to like what I wrote. And when I put it out, I had so much good and positive feedback on it. I was like, yo, why did you wait? But at the same time, I think God was like, you're not ready for it. You know what I'm saying? So when that when that moment comes where you get that light bulb or that epiphany to say, this is my time to start. Don't second guess yourself anymore. That's
Right.
God telling you, this is your time now. This is your time, and I'm going to help guide you through this. There's going to be rough roads because there's always trials and tribulations that you go through. It's a process, and you have to trust that process. And you have to, in the process of trusting the process, you have to trust God because He's going to help you through everything that you're going to go through.
That's
So
right.
you can find me on social media, authormanmorales.com. That's my website, Author Manny Morales, on Instagram and Facebook. Um, what's the other one? The model one, Manny Morales 1824 is my model page. I have a show coming up. If you want to get a book from me, DM me and I'll autograph it and send it to you. Yeah, and I got a lot of other things coming up. I'm making a trailer for my book. It's either going to be a series or a movie, so keep a lookout for that. It's definitely coming.
Amazing. Yes. Thank you for those words. And I echo all the inspirational words that Nala and Manny have shared with us today, and especially during this part of the segment here where we are doing the closing remarks, right? And
Hmm.
so my quote that I created many moons ago is the sky is never the limit because the galaxies are endless, right? The
Yes,
sky
I
is
love
never
that
the
quote.
limit because
I
the
love that.
galaxies are endless. Thank you. And with that in mind, I
That's
definitely
right.
want to give
Yeah.
a shout out. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nala.
I
What'd
said
you
I gotta
say?
write that one down.
She's gonna steal it from you, Jesse.
Hey, as long as you give me credit, because I created it. And that was me with my analytical brain, because I told this story before, but I was on a plane many years ago, and I heard the pilot saying, "Oh, we've reached." I want to say at that point was like 35,000 feet. Where they're traveling and they're smooth sailing, and then my analytical brain started just computing. I'm like, well, every time I look at the Earth, there's a picture of the Earth. There's like a blue silhouette that kind of goes around it before it hits outer space. So then I started calculating what is the from ground to that blue silhouette, what is considered outer space? Because
Hmm.
that means that when people say the sky is the sky is not the limit because you're putting a cap into what you can do.
Right.
Because technically there is a cap before it hits outer space.
Hmm.
Now, for people that don't know that, do your research. And I mentioned it before. It's a fancy name for it. I can't remember what it was. But nevertheless, I started saying, you know what? No, I'm not going to say the sky's the limit because that means I'm impeding myself. I'm adding a barrier to myself and what I can do. The sky is never the limit because the galaxies are endless.
Right.
So, food for
That was
thought.
awesome. That was
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you. Shout out to our sponsors. We have author Manny Morales. We have Divine Beauty and Accessories, My Ride Enterprises, uh, Collective Wear. And if you watching, listening, if you have a business and you want to, be a sponsor for Oyandia TV, we'll definitely, we have different packages available that we can do commercials for you,
Right.
voiceovers,
Yes.
etc. So hit us up. I'm going to put the email right here so that you can reach out to us, and just we can chop it up and talk numbers, right?
Right.
Always looking for sponsors. Also, we are booked out till February, which is a beautiful
Yes.
blessing, but we
Yes.
are still booking
Right.
for potential guests. So if you have an interesting story, topic, business, etc., we would love to have you on. Just email us at the email below, oyndtv@gmail.com. In the subject line, say guest, and then in the body of what you're writing, just put who you are, how can we reach you, and what you want to talk about, and then we can go from there. Also, September 13th, I'll be hosting the Town of Garner Festival Latino 2024.
Oh yeah, I
So
seen it.
come on out. Come on out. Yep, there are two trailers, two promos on my actual social media page on the Facebook, Yesy Rodriguez. So you can check those out. It is a Latino festival, but anybody can come, family friendly, free of charge. There's going to be live music, food trucks. I'm your MC, so you can see me on the stage introducing the different guests. It's just going to be just a fun night to just sit back and enjoy and live life and just
Right.
pásalo padre, ¿verdad? Disfruta de la vida.
Exactly.
But nevertheless, this has been another amazing, amazing episode of Hoy en Día TV.
Amazing show.
Thank you all for your support, for listening to us. We are available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Samsung Music, YouTube, Facebook, IG, and we have more coming soon. So stay tuned. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Adios.